Hi everyone, it's Øyvind Martinsen here. In this video I will teach you how to use graduated neutral density filters to control high contrast lighting situations in landscape photography. Even though this video is short, it is one of the most powerful and important in the landscape week. Many landscape scenes have a spread of highlights and shadows, bright skies and dark foregrounds that exceeds the camera's dynamic range. The result is often that an image is overexposed in the highlight areas or underexposed in the shadows. We can use the filters to balance these extreme contrasts. I am using Galen Ravel graduated neutral density filters from singh-ray. They are wonderful tools for the landscape photographer, and I do not go anywhere without them. Do not buy filters with a color tone. They are fake filters and will create a false color. Buy the graduated neutral density filters with no colors. Only neutral tones to balance the light. There are one type with a hard edge and another with a soft edge. The one with a soft edge is easy to use, and you can use it when you have a horizon that is not straight, like when there are mountains, buildings and trees against the horizon. If you have a horizon that is straighter, you use a hard edge filter. With a hard edge filter, you must be careful where you put the edge, otherwise you will darken areas on the ground that you don't want to darken. If you have a horizon that is sloping, you can tilt the filter so it covers the sky above the sloping terrain. I'm using filters with the dimension 84 by 120 millimeters. If you have a wider lens diameter than 84 mm, you must buy a larger filter. The rectangular shape makes it possible to slide the filter up and down in front of the lens to cover the sky, no matter if the horizon is at the top of the frame or at the bottom of the frame. I recommend you buy the Galen Ravel filters in this order: 2-stop hard, 3-stop soft, 3-stop hard and 2-stop soft, 4-stop hard and 4-stop soft. You can also buy Daryl Benson reverse graduated neutral density filters. These filters are darkest in the center, clear on the bottom, and transition from dark to light above the horizon. That makes them ideal to use during sunrises and sunsets with flat or defined horizons, such as the seashore, prairie or desert. I recommend you buy the 3-stop and the 4-stop filters. You can buy both the Galen Ravel and Daryl Benson filters at bhphotovideo.com. Why do I use these filters when the photo editing software has a built-in graduated neutral density filter? The answer is because you cannot handle the extreme contrasts with a built-in graduated neutral density filter in, for example, Adobe Lightroom. However, I sometimes fine-tune the tone balance with the built-in graduated neutral density filter. In this image, I handheld the filter only partly over the lens. The left side is balanced with the filter, but the right side is not covered by the filter and has a burned out sky and mountain. The image illustrates the need for the filters in these situations. Here is another illustration about the use. The upper left image is without the filter and exposed for the sky, and you see the foreground go dark. The picture down to the left is also without filter and it is exposed for the foreground, and the sky is too bright. In the image to the right, the foreground and the sky is balanced with the use of a 3-stop hard edge graduated neutral density filter. When I work towards the sunrise or sunset, I normally use 3 or 4-stop filters. When I work with the sun at my back, I normally use 2 or 3-stop filters. In extreme situations, when you for example are down in a valley in the shadows and you have highlighted mountain peaks higher up, I sometimes have to use 3 to 4 stops, even though I have the sun at my back. You must practice and learn to read the different contrast situations. The good thing about digital is that you can see the results right away and then adjust the exposure. Normally I handheld the filters in front of the lens and sometimes move the filter during the exposure time, almost like we did burning and dodging in the darkroom in the old days. A typical situation where I move a Galen Rowell hard-edge filter can be at the coastline at sunset. First I cover the sky down to the horizon with the filter, then I move downwards so it also covers the sea a part of the exposure time. Other times I use a Cook and Pea filter holder. The filter holder is useful when I'm working with long exposures like 10 to 30 seconds, which are typical situations where it is not so easy to maintain the position of the filter with the handheld method. In the next video clip you will see both the handheld method and the filter holder method. In the next video clip you will see 3 examples of the filter effect. Another option to handle extreme contrast situations is to take multiple exposures and try to recreate the scene with the built-in HDR software in Adobe Lightroom. HDR equals high dynamic range. Personally, I do not like HDR because the final image looks processed and rarely looks realistic. That said, I would teach you how to process an HDR image in the next video if you choose to work in that style.